celebrate the birth of the light in the human soul, and that is the story of the passage of the sun through the celestial equator. And we're delighted to have Jon Rasmussen with us tonight to celebrate the solstice. And Jon is a shaman who has been trained in the School of Four Winds by Alberto Villoldo and also with Carol Indians in Peru. And he leads tours to South America, to the rainforest, and to the high Andes of Peru. So if you were to attend one of those, you would meet the Carol Indian shamans who he has studied with. So we're delighted to have him tonight to lead us in a solstice journey and give a talk on the light, the eternal light. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Jon. Hey, thank you, Anu. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you all here. So, how many of you are familiar with shamanism experientially? You've all had some experience almost in some way or another. Okay. Well, tonight is, this is a very special time. These changes of seasons, these cycles, they're opportunities for us to use what's happening in nature, the influences of nature, to reconnect to our true nature, our true power, because the world, the way it is now and has been for a couple thousand years, maybe a little longer, has been a little bit at odds with nature. And when the shaman's approach to healing and health and enlightenment and all of that is very nature-based. It's very feminine-based. Nature is considered the feminine. We've heard Mother Nature. There's no mistake in that. All of the physical world that we know of as matter is the Latin word mater, which means mother. So when it comes to, and to shamans, there's no separation of spirit and matter. And that may come as a surprise to some of your minds, because we've been led to believe that spirit is somewhere else and matter is here, and you're either material or you're spiritual, right? All of these differentiations, these separations. And that's all a fallacy. That's a man-made notion that to the natural people and the shamans of the world that go back to maybe the beginning of humanity, that separation never occurred. We were never cast out of the garden. We were never separated from nature. We were never separated from our true nature. The feminine has always been the most powerful expression of spirit and of nature, of quote-unquote God the Father. When we go to, I was just talking about going to Peru, like I do every year. I take clients who want to go and do some of this work, but where my teachers are, and to meet them and do ceremony with them and so on. And we start in the jungles, and there's just, when you're there, you really recognize that this is where it all started. This is the beginning of creation, those jungles, and the feminine in nature. And you recognize once again that you are supported by that, and you're in the garden, and it's a beautiful thing. So what I'd like to do tonight is help you reconnect with that, help you taste the eternal, taste infinity we call it, but taste the notion that spirit and the material world are not separate, that you, even though you're in a physical body, are still your eternal spiritual nature. Okay? And that you don't have to buy into this myth and this notion that you're separate from that it's something you can only obtain through some kind of condition or doing the right things and so on, but that it's always there. It's always there, and it's just a matter of remembering. It's just a matter of being aware of it. Does that sound good to you? Before we do this work, we always open sacred space. We always like to call on the non-physical teams and spirit guides and healers and lineages from the non-physical and the forces of nature and the non-physical to come and hold us in this space, because we're going to do a journey. We're going to tap into this deepest part of ourselves. And so we want it to be in a place that is safe and supportive and leaves the outside world out. Okay? So I'd like you to stand up and face with me each direction. We'll start facing the south, this direction here, back towards the South America and the jungles and feminine. To the winds of the south, Sachumama Hatunamaru, great serpent, mother of the waters, the rivers, the galaxies, the roads that bring us together. Come hold us in this healing space. Wrap your coils of light around us and help us to shed the old wounds and separations and notions of separation from nature. The way you shed your skin, which is all at once, right here, right now. So from this point forward, we can be in our full power and wholeness, gently on ourselves and our bodies, gently on the earth. Be with us, Mother. Ho. To the west. To the winds of the west. Otorongo, great jaguar. Come, protect this medicine space for us. Help us to leap beyond the notions of separateness, of guilt, of shame, of the limiting ancestral myths and beliefs that no longer serve us. And instead, help us to be spiritual, peaceful warriors who have no need to engage in battle, but instead are willing and able to ask and receive as co-creators all of the experiences we prefer, so that we can leap into who we are becoming. Be with us. Ho. And to the north. To the winds of the north, great healers, wisdom keepers, lineages of all, ancestors and guardians of this land. Come hold us in the ancient wisdom and the wisdom to come. We honor you who come before us, and you who will come after us. Help us take our seats with you. We've never left. As powerful, free, childlike co-creators. And hummingbird sea working. Help us to drink of the nectar of life, to receive unconditionally, to receive the source, the light, the creative energy, the abundance, the support, all that we ask for. And so that we can also do that which seems impossible as you do. Be with us. Oh. To the winds of the east, Hatun Kuntur, great condor, Hakuchin, Anka, eagle. Help us to soar high. Help us to have the broadest perspective and the clearest vision of our ideal destiny, not only for ourselves, our personal journey, but for all that is, for all of humanity and all beings. And help us to listen to our bodies, to use our feelings as guidance and discernment and as a way of asking, to put the heart above the head in that way, and to fly wing to wing with great spirit, with self-effort and grace. Be with us. To the earth, great mother. Pachamama, beautiful mother. Thank you for holding us. Thank you for being our true mother. Thank you for being in our bodies, the air, the water, and all your children, the stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlers, the fin, the furred, the winged ones, all our relations that not only feed us and bring us beauty and joy, but help us to embody their characteristics and instincts when we need them, their medicine. And thank you, Mother, for taking those energies that are too heavy for us, just as you do our waste, and mulching it so we don't have to carry it around any longer. We can be free to take life beyond where it's been before, here in our bodies, here on your belly. Oh. Inti Taita, Father, Son, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, Hatun Chaska, Star Brothers and Sisters. Thank you for showering us with your light and your energy, your cycles that make life possible for us, and doing this unconditionally, without judgment, teaching us to treat ourselves and each other this way. And Great Spirit, Iliticha, Virakocha, Wakantanka, God, creator of all that is. You are known by 1,000 names, yet the innameable one that dwells within us and all around us, in all forms. Thank you for bringing us together to sing the song of life one more day, to dance this dance of co-creation, to take it beyond where it's been before. New possibilities. Thank you for all those you brought to us to help us. Show us our potential. Oh. All right. So tonight we are speaking of our eternal nature. What does it mean? Why do we celebrate the return of the sun? Why do we celebrate in all of our different philosophies and religions, spiritual practices, this time when it seems like the sun is going lower and lower in the sky and it's never going to come back and it's going to be nothing but darkness? That's where it started, you know. And then it turned and it came back. It came back and it did this every year without fail. The sun moved lower in the sky and it turned and it came back just when it was getting like it was going to be impossible to survive, you know, when we were just natural humans living out on, you know, on the plains and in the caves and in the jungles, you know. And every night this happens. We lose the sun and it's dark, and we of course take it for granted that we'll wake up the next day and it'll be back. And this is a metaphor for ourselves, for our soul. You're eternal, the part of you that is eternal, that we know as the soul in English, and we know as the aura and chakras in Sanskrit, and we know as anima in Italian, and l'âme in French. Everybody's got a name for it. But what is that part of you? What is that part of you that even when this physical body is gone, that part can't wait to come back and play some more in this amazing garden, in this amazing theater? Even if the last several movies have been difficult and not very good. Trust me, when you go non-physical, you really do, you know, have a different perspective, and you recognize that this is an interesting place to come, and there's opportunities to make it even better and better. And that's what, you know, to shamans, creation wasn't finished on the sixth day. It's still going. It's totally participatory. Still going. We're still evolving. There's a whole nother species on the way. You know, you can imagine Neanderthal was once sitting around in a bookstore having this conversation. You know, going, this is it. You know, we're about as good as it gets, and so on and so forth. And boy, were they in for a surprise. They disappeared. Right? We got this Homo sapiens thing or whatever. No, it's not the end. We're still going. We're still going. And all of nature is that. And and that part of us knows that. There's the part of us that knows that. And then there's your brain, your frontal lobe, and your cortex that holds the memories and the history of this life. And you think, this is it, man. This is a big deal. My life is all the things that have happened to me, all the things that are happening in the world and happening to me now in my relationships and my health and my work and my money, and, you know, we take it very, very sort of seriously. And one of the first things I was taught by my Karo teachers is not to take yourself seriously at all. They joke around all the time, they're silly, they're goofy, they live it perfectly, without thinking, what does anybody else think about me? Or they don't even care what's going on in the rest of the world in a way, it seems. They isolated themselves for 500 years because they knew that we were going to go through this strange period, and then one day we would need what they had again, and they would wanted to keep it safe, and then they brought it back to us. And they're teaching hundreds of thousands of people to go around and do the work that they've taught us. And so it seems like that's a huge sort of sacrifice to move from the rich lands of a sacred valley of Peru up to 16,000 feet where nothing but potatoes grow, and it's kind of rough. The altitude, their hearts have grown 1.5 times the size of ours from 500 years of living at that altitude. Now they can sprint from 12,000 to 14,000 feet and not even have not be aerobic when you test their pulse. It's pretty interesting. But they've given us back all that they've held on to, and then they just laugh and giggle when you talk about the possibility that we won't use it and we'll blow the world up anyway. Because they know we're eternal. It doesn't matter. This was just one chance, one go of it, one opportunity to turn the script around, to change the play, to change the, to make a turn in our evolutionary process. And it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen either the hard way or the easy way anyway. So they don't get too concerned about it. So imagine that. These are our people. These are their weavings. This is their language. They don't have written language. They've always woven. This probably hasn't changed in 10,000 years, as far as anyone knows. But the Peruvian Indians that live that stayed, that didn't go and isolate themselves. There's only about 2,000 of these Karo today. Their weavings tell their story of tending llamas and growing corn and guinea pigs and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see the animal carvings in there. The Karo, really their consensus reality is energy, is light, is spirit. That was their purpose, to hold on to that, to never lose that awareness, right? So they could bring it back and help us reclaim that. That would be normal for us, ideally. And so these images and symbols, these are rays of light that come off of your luminous body. These are the mountains and the rivers and such, but not in the physical sense, but in their energetic sense. So tonight the journey that I'd like to take you on, I thought would be the best thing, would be to reconnect to what we call the light body. Chromosome, DNA. Chromosome, literally translated, means light body. Chroma light, some body. Interesting, right? And the DNA is what defines our physical being, and so on and so forth. So very interesting. Yes, we know that our light body, our soul, our eternal self that passes from lifetime to lifetime, is what initially informs our physicality, our physical body, the family we're born into, our DNA. It's the blueprint, it's the template. And the shaman's work and the work we're doing tonight is meant to engage directly with that part of our being, to skip the mind and the body and the subconscious and go directly to your essential self. And we call it tasting infinity, because all of the rest of it's 4 layers: the body, the mind, the subconscious, and then the soul, and they inform each other in this direction. And and so we're able to access directly this part of our being first, and then take it to the next layer, and then the next layer, work sort of downstream. That's the idea of doing it this way. So that it's not your mind that's in control of the process, it's not the psychology, it's not the, if I just think differently and think better and think more clearly, maybe I can get there. Yes, you can, but it's swimming upstream. Okay, it's harder. It's more and more, and it's okay to do it that way, but we want to meet it from this direction, and that's why we're here tonight. That's what this work offers. The journeying and the shamanic work, it gains access directly to that part of your being. Any questions about that? Does that bring up any thoughts?
Now, where exactly are these people?
The Caro?
Yeah.
They live in villages about a 3 days' journey on horseback from the closest road outside of Cusco, several hours. So there's deep in the Andes of Peru. Not even the Peruvian natives knew they were there. Once they left 500 years ago, they were invisible. No one could even get there, really, very easily. So.
Did Shirley MacLaine reach them? Because she wrote a lot about Peru.
Yeah, I don't think she met the Caro. Quite honestly, yeah, I think they were still fairly unknown or isolated at that point.
So when were they discovered?
1957.
When was it?
1957. They walked out.
Yeah.
They didn't get discovered.
Right, they came out, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but they were still only a handful really sort of came out, and so only a few people ever really met them and worked with them. One of them is Alberto Rialdo, who's my teacher, who wrote Shaman Healer Sage. It's an amazing book. He's written several books. I saw it here on the table. And we go, like I said, I go every year. I take people there to meet with them. These are people you can meet and experience. They come around now. Michael's seen them a lot here in the States, and so they're getting around on the big metal condor.
They were in Monterey County praying for rain. These ladies, did you know when they came? So I think it's like the 7th of November or something.
Yeah, that's right.
They came for a weekend, and one of the days was all about praying for rain. And, just since November 7th.
Overdid it a little.
I think they know how to make things happen.
Yeah. So when you strip away all of our notions that we've developed in the mind, all of our limiting beliefs, all of our identities, I'm this, you're that, I'm from here, you're from there. I mean, that's all good. It's good drama. Like that makes the play interesting, and so we don't want to really necessarily eliminate any of that. We like differences, so we don't want to look the same or do the same or think the same. But when you strip all of that away, and you're left with nothing but the soul, that's just pure light. That's just essential light that came originally from some source of light that people call God, or they call, whatever. But we are all one. This is true. We are all connected to the one, if you will. At some place, in some way or another, we came from there on that essential level. And, as far as we know, that is eternal. It's not limited by space and time, linear time. To shamans, time is not just linear. It's important that it's linear in this sort of experience. We don't want to go home and our house isn't built. We got to figure out where we're going to sleep. We got to have things go sequentially for the play. But your essential self is not bound by that at all. And this is why every time we do this work at this level, we are stepping into infinity. We are stepping out of all the physical world, the mental world, even the subconscious mythic world, and we're stepping directly into this energetic aspect of our being. Pure light. Pure light. And you have access to that any time. When things start getting rough in the theater, when you start getting really pulled down by all the worries and the troubles and the things going on in the world, and are we destroying it or not? Are we going to be here? And like all these these big things or the little things like how am I going to pay rent or this or that. All you have to do is access that part of yourself. Again, just remember that nothing is permanent. Everything is so temporary. It's comical almost how temporary it is. Really, especially when you're going on. Well, I had a bunch of near-death experiences as a young person, and then subsequently through the shaman's training, we do a lot of the death rites, they're called, and where we just cleanse and shed the death that otherwise, stalks us. They call it death stalks us. Little by little, it takes part of us until we're more dead than alive, instead of by an accident or something physical. So we, every time we do that, we reconnect to this notion that we are not this story. We're not our story. And it's very easy if you can access that just when you need to. Nobody can offend you. What are they offending? What are they criticizing? What is that thing? Who is that person? It's just a play. It's just an act. It's just an actor. It's just the role you were playing. It's almost like if we criticized an actor for playing an evil role in a movie. You wouldn't do that. You'd go, wow, you did a good job playing that role. You really had me. You know what I mean? So this is what I want you to take away today from this talk and this journey is whatever you thought was serious, whatever you really was weighing you down and making you feel and think sort of, what did I do? What am I not doing? What did they do to me? Like all this stuff just doesn't need to apply. To me, that's the spirit of this holiday season. This is the purpose of this, is to think we were about to die. The sun was going away. It wasn't coming back. We were all going to die. And it came back. Oh my God. I love you. I'm so sorry that I, told you what I told you last week. Good thing we didn't die. I'm so happy you're still here. Even our enemy. Right? Do you know what I mean? So that's the point. That's the point of this season. That's the point of this time and doing something, whatever we do, all the fun rituals and ceremonies, depending on where, which ones you participate in. It's all for the same reason. It's all that, hey, we didn't die. We made it. Now let's, be easy with each other and love each other. And, not take things so serious. Not our identity, not our traditions, not any of that. Your true nature, pure light, pure light. Any questions at this point before we start the journey? Because this is a lot of words. I'm filling your brain with ideas, but that's not the big deal, right? It's not so much your brain.
I feel like asking a question, but I'm not sure what questions to ask now, so absorbing the vibe thing.
Yeah. That's your mind doing that. That's the point. We as Westerners are so used to identifying with our brain. I am this set of information that's stored inside here. And it's like, no, you're not. That's your servant, ideally. You tell it. There's this whole concept of the feminine, which is the unknown and the unknowable. Even science, our mind, modern science is all about, I need to know it, I need to know it. If I know it, I can heal it and change it, and if I understand it, I can. And it's like, not really. What you need to do is just go there, just feel it, be it, experience it in ceremony, in ritual, ideally, because that's how you get there. And then the mind goes, oh, well, I guess it's not important. At the end of this journey, maybe you'll go, oh, I didn't really have any questions, actually, because it's just that insatiable little part of our being that wants to get it, right? And it's fine. Feed it all you want. Yeah.
There's a new computer out that you just talk to, and you ask it, maybe you've seen, for whatever you want.
Yeah.
So how do you, these brilliant people that are inventing these computers, or even teaching mathematics or, like
Yeah.
Hawking or whatever. I mean, that's brain, but what? What are you saying?
Well, what I think it is that it's I think part of the process of taking creation beyond where it's been before, new levels of complexity, because that's kind of what we've been doing. We went from single-celled organisms to this thing, and we have Shakespeare and we have drama, and because we were bored essentially for 2 billion years of single-celled organisms. And so what I think is happening is that the mind, which is still a part of our being, it's not a mistake. It's still a good servant. So people who are philosophically exploring, who've read every book, and the reasons why it's good to do that is that we want to push it into the unknown. That's essentially what we're explorers. We always want to go further. Where can we take this? Where? Like when I'm opening sacred space and I say, to take life beyond where it's been before. That's the nature of nature. That's the nature of creation. To take it to new levels of complexity. So yeah, those folks, they're taking it in that. I've written blog articles about this. I've worked with people from Google and CERN and all these places, and they're doing what they can to build something that may be more complex than this. Maybe they're pushing the evolution. And I've always said that my soul, and I know my soul because it was outside of this body a lot. So I know this is just not really me. It's just this body, and the me that is my soul is very much who I am, who's speaking. But if I leave this body, and then I notice that there's something that's more complex, more capable of creating drama and doing interesting things than a Homo sapiens human body, I would go there. So even if it was a machine created by us, I would be compelled as a soul to embody that and use it as my vehicle. That's my take on all of this. It's probably controversial, but because it's not terribly organic or whatever necessarily. But to shamans, everything's earth. There's nothing more spiritual than biology or this or the car. There's no separation of spirit matter, so everything is capable of consciousness and everything's alive. This is just a very juicy, interesting thing, these bodies. Okay? And I think that it's impossible practically, really, to build something more complex than this, but who knows?
But just your voice, sometimes I think about where does the voice come from, like an opera singer or a person.
It's those little muscle fibers, right? And they vibrate just
from
right.
Sperm and egg.
Right.
9 months.
Exactly. It's all of that stuff, right? That's the current situation, and that's why I'm saying I'm not sure that's really going anywhere. You know what I mean? And maybe they're off on a branch of the tree that's going to be a dead end. And that's happened a lot.
Well, when the power goes down, it's over.
That's right. There is that. Right. I mean, we get our power through the complexity of life. So but I like to stay open. You see, a shaman always remains very open and not religious about something. I don't want to hold firm to something and say that's it. I'll never entertain any other possibility. It's part of our training to allow. To be allowing.
I used to be entertained by an Etch-a-Sketch. Now I need a computer.
That's right. We don't go to black and white movies anymore. I mean, this is all part of that idea that we like more complexity. Shakespeare came along and changed entertainment with the incredible complexity of the plays that he produced, and before that, there wasn't that so much. So it's just nature's way of creating. I mean, new species are coming out of the jungle and in the ocean still today. That hasn't stopped. Nature's still experimenting. So I don't know. I think it's just a part of it. It's part of the complexity. Somehow we were given the capability to mess around with silicon chips and stuff, and we're doing it. And we may destroy ourselves doing it. And the Carol would just laugh and go, "Oh, that was, that's funny." you know, you went that direction, and look what happened. But we're eternal.
They know how to live
Other
with a
planets.
potato and a llama. They could just go back up to the 18,000 feet and, you know, be the only remaining peeps.
That's true. They
They don't need much.
Yeah. So that's a great question, because I think it's a big subject, and it's a very interesting one. You know, where is it all going and why? And, you know, we all have our own personal desires around where we'd like to see it go. You know.
There was a, I don't know, radio personality in San Francisco, you know, during all the computer stuff in the 80s and 90s, and I used to love it because people would call and ask him questions, and he would all of a sudden yell, "Well, that's very interesting, but who cares?"
Right. Right. It's very much the way. Yeah, that's the way the Caro are. Somebody asked Don Francisco, one of my favorite elder Caro. First time he met him, he had a list of these questions. Boy, he had 3 pages of explain the universe, explain quantum physics. He thought, I'm going to get the answers. These people know it. And they do. I mean, they're connected to the alien beings that come through a tear in the fabric of time and space and show up in their village. I mean, it's the you know, Shirley MacLaine stuff, you know. They're not interested in the ones who come in the clumsy buses, the spaceships. They're a little crude. They like the ones who can, the shaman aliens who can just go without the spaceship. I mean, this is a direct quote, literally, from Don Manuel Quispe. But Don Francisco, sort of, this person went on and on reading all these questions and was getting the translation, and Don Francisco was listening very seriously, and he thought about it for a while, and talked a little bit with the translator, and then basically the answer was, you know, to the purpose of the universe and how does it work and all that, was basically mountains, sky, oceans. Who cares, right? In other words, isn't it a beautiful day? What's your problem? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's who we are. They look at us and they see that. We see the insane asylum of the universe, right? Mostly when we look around, we go, "Oh my God, look at that person." Oh. You know, look at myself. Oh. But they see us and they go, "Wow, look at you." Oh my! They literally throw up their hands and with a sparkle in their eye, they come up and they hug you and they say all this stuff in Quechua, like, "You're amazing. How, you know, that you came all the way here to see us in Peru, and that, you know, you live in cities of 20 million and like are actually in one piece still." Like, I think they're very impressed. They go, "Our life's simple. We live at 16,000 feet. All we got are llamas, potatoes, and little corn when they go down to the lower elevation." They go, "You, how do you do it?" So it's just perspective, right? It's like, how do you look at yourself? You know? And you got the choice. You have the choice of seeing any aspect of yourself and focusing on it. So let's do a journey that takes us to that original soul, the original you, the original life that came here for the first time, who knows how long ago, and in what form,
Condition.
in what condition. You came from somewhere, you've been on the planet for I don't know how many lifetimes.
What if I'm scared to go on this journey?
That's good. That's a good sign.
I'll hold
If
your
it's-
hand.
If you're not scared, you're not really doing it. That's what the Carol says. If you're, you know,
Yeah.
we're going into the unknown and the unknowable, so be scared. Enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah. Courage. Courage is what you count on when you're scared. You know, I stand at the edge of the jungle and I go down there on the beach in the middle of the Madre de Dios River, the Mother of God River, like I was talking about earlier, this concept that we think it's the masculine that's, no, it's the, God was given birth to by a mother. Okay? So that's the being you want to connect with. So we go to this island and we sit there and we do the ayahuasca, we do all these things to connect and all these things. And I always like to walk in the middle of the night to the edge of that jungle, just a dense forest, knowing there's a jaguar right there looking back at me, and just feel how scared I can get. It's like, how scared can a human get? I want to go there. And I do. And then I run back to the circle when it's intolerable.
That's funny.
But, it takes courage to stand there for a little bit anyway, to walk there. So that's all I ask, a little courage as you do this. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Get ready. So close your eyes, take a deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And I want you to imagine that you're moving from behind your eyes, where you're normally looking out into the world, where you're normally identifying yourself. And begin to move down, move behind your mouth, looking out into the world from behind your mouth, almost like looking out from the mouth of a cave, seeing the starlight, the luminous threads of energy that make up the world. And continue down into your throat. If you were to look up, you'd see your head above you. And continue down into your torso. And stop behind your heart and see your heart beating in front of you. And now enter your heart and see the blood rushing by. This is your heart, this magnificent four-chambered pump that keeps going and going. Keep this body going, this vehicle. But in the center of your heart, there's a light, a ball of bright light, shimmering blue, gold, white, yellow light. And that's the center of your soul, of your essential self, your eternal self, the eternal light, connected to the core of the universe, to all creation. And enter that sphere of light, leaving behind all that is not your essential self. Leaving behind your history, your identity, your worries, your concerns, your aches and pains, the drama of this great theater. Stepping into the light. Stepping into your essential light. And that light, that sphere of light, is all places at all times. It's at a higher dimension than the physical world, the ordinary linear time-space reality. So you can go anywhere back in time, and you can go anywhere forward in time, or anywhere sideways in time. And I want to take you back in time. Let's take you back before the first time you ever came to this planet, just like your imagination, like a movie in your head, imagine where you are before you came here. Where are you coming from? Is there anyone else around you traveling with you? Go further back. Further back. Where did that soul that is you first originate? That pure light. Go back. Maybe it was even before the Big Bang. Maybe it was somewhere else. Imagine feeling the softness of your edges. You don't have a physical form, and you're floating in the vacuum of space. And yet you're fully conscious. How does it feel to be that essential self, that pure ball of light? So imagine separating from wherever you came from. The first time you became a soul, an individual being. And imagine traveling through time and space until you recognize that you're coming to the planet, the Earth, for the first time. You see this Earth approaching. And you come to this beautiful garden, this beautiful place. Big rivers and beautiful colors, lots of exciting energy moving around this great mother. And there's an atmosphere that you can breathe and smell and interact with. There's a surface that you can interact with. How exciting. And she's a living being that you can connect to. And so you make that first connection out the bottom of your sphere of light to this great being, this powerful mother, wild and untamable, creative, ever-changing, supportive and nurturing. And she's just the right distance from this ball of fire, the sun. It has infinite amounts of energy. And so you make a connection through the top of this ball of light to the sun. And now you're connected to the true father and the true mother. And you're making this your home. And there's so much available in the physical form here that you begin to experiment, interacting with the physical, trying it on, embodying it. And lifetimes pass, and lifetimes pass, and lifetimes pass, and generations pass, in linear time. But you're eternal, so they're nothing. Just trying on different forms of physical experience. And the sun rises and the sun sets and the seasons change. And you're experiencing all of it. In all the different forms. As they evolve and change because you dream them into being. Your soul imagines new forms, new ways of interacting and engaging, of feeling and sensing, and smelling and tasting, creating contrast so that you can experience all of it. This playful soul of yours, it's who you really are. You remember. And when you sit around a fire or candlelight, every time you remember that's the spark of who you are, who you really are. The spark of the sun that's wrapped itself around a part of the earth in the form of a tree or beeswax or something else. And when it ignites, releasing the sun, part of the sun. And your soul is part of that sun. So you are that fire. You're that fire, you're where you came from originally. You're part of the earth. Pure and light and clear as a flame. And when you look around at everyone else, that's also what you can see if you want to. You can see the role they're playing. You can see their history, their drama, their body, their mind. But you can also see that flame of light that is their essential self. And that is just like you. So find your way back now into the center of your heart, of this body. Leaving that ball of light, bring your consciousness back into your heart and see the blood rushing by and the valves working. This incredible creation of yours. Of all of us collectively. And step behind the heart and see it beating. And make your way back up your torso. Back up through your throat. Back behind your eyes. Before you open your eyes, see that light. Remember. Notice after you open your eyes that everything contains that same original light. And then go ahead and open your eyes. Rub your hands together. Feel your face around your body, down the front of your body, your legs, your feet. So, hopefully that gave you a good taste of the light that is spoken of in all of the traditions and how it relates to the sun and the solstice.
My ears are blocked. They were blocked for days.
Oh, good. Excellent. Glad to hear it.
No extra charge.
Thank you.
There's a lot of things can be done out there, and it just depends a lot on what's happening with this particular vehicle. And so yeah, well, I appreciate the comment because it's it's what meditation practice is for. There's a lot of ways to get to reach. It's what that journey is for. You can do this journey. You can get my CD with the journey on it that takes us back to our first time here in the original. That's what all that's for. That's the ritual, the ceremony, the fire ceremonies. It allows us to continue to taste more and more of that in lieu of what's happening now here, and so it's in doing so, and the more that you can connect to that part of you that feels that bliss and that freedom, then the more we can manifest it here. Because that's what the Karo feel. And that's what a lot of the natural people in the jungles feel. And that's what people in other cultures feel all the time, even in this physical body. Because that's how it's really supposed to be here. It's supposed to be really blissful and fun and pleasurable with very little pain, just enough to keep the contrast going. And then it's cool. Back in the garden.
I think, because they don't have electricity, and so every night it's dark.
Yeah.
You can see all the stars, or not, you can't.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a
That's true. There's a lot of
eternity every night.
Yeah.
Here we have the lights on. It's still kind of daytime. We're still in daytime mode, even though it is night. And I think that's how we get hooked.
Yeah, that's where we're at, and we're learning and we're changing and we're growing, and it's so complex. There's so much of the unknown and the unknowable as well that you can read every book and there's different ideas. Are there other places you go? Are there better places? Are there other planets? If you try hard enough, can you just get to go there? Do you get like a free pass to the next place? And that may all be true. You know? But what it comes down to is that particular question, that part of you that wants to taste more of that, and that's what you're asking for. And the universe is hearing that, and it's going to help you bring it as long as you do the next step as well, you know. So that's how it works. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I meditate sometimes and I'm kind of there.
That's right. I'll bet you're there when you're doing your amazing art and everything.
Yeah, go into like a trance world that doesn't exist.
Yeah, you got it.
That's just right there.
Yeah.
Think they're doing it.
Any other questions? Any other thoughts, ideas?
Yeah, what did you say? I totally passed out.
Really? Oh, nice. Well, this body and brain passed out, but you were still there. You'll get it later. You'll dream about it tonight or something. Typically, that's how it works. Emery, anything else you want to say? I got books. I got my book. I've got CDs. I've got website.
Yeah, Jon does sessions. You can
Yep.
contact him if you want a shamanic session, healing.
Yeah.
And yes, we have his book and CD.
Well, I've had a couple of very nice sessions with Jon. Whatever you want, right? It's Game Store, like it's birthday, so what's your wish, you know? And he will help craft a ritual to get you the future.
Thanks so much, Jon.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Do you live in this
hosting
area?
us. I do. Yeah, I live here and I...
Commutes between here and the crew.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything.
I do phone sessions all over the world because this access that we do is not limited by time and space, but works very well anyway. And I travel a lot, drive a lot to LA and San Francisco and see clients personally and travel a bit sometimes and do Peru as well every year. So, yeah.
So where do you do your session?
At your home, typically. I like to go to the person's place to help clear the energy there and change things. Or I do it in my home in Marina. Yeah, but it's nice to do it in your own space to make sure that the space as well is, you know, set up to support your new freedom and power and way of being.
I feel like Dr. Seuss. Can you do it here and there? Can you do it anywhere?
Yeah. Yeah.
Need a boat for the goat? No, that's not
Need a shaman Dr. Seuss book. Green eggs and rattles.
Can I borrow your pencil?
Okay.
Would you sign my book?
Oh, sure. Yeah.